So, when I look at this, first thing I see is land and buildings is number 1. So it's an addition at cost, right? So now I see what's the difference between those two and what is it? So I say 4522 less 3452. What does that give me? Okay, say it nicely for me again. 800. Okay, so I already transfer it there. Okay. Then the next one, I see there's no addition. There's only a disposal. So what do I do immediately? That disposal goes here. But this is not going to be in brackets. Why? Because this is cash coming in. Remember, this statement is about cash. Here, it's about fixed assets going out. Can you see it's different purposes? That's why it's got a bracket here, but not here. Everybody sharp. Okay. Now I see number 3 is the depreciation. Now when I do depreciation, I want snow. Sold, new, old. New, I know, 0. Okay. I'm going to do it like this so I can do my calculations here. Okay. So now let's look. What is the method? The business has 3 vehicles at the beginning of the year. The following details appears. They give me the cost, accumulated, carry value. Note, vehicle 3 was sold at its carry value during the year. So there's my sold one. Depreciation is on cost. Okay, so let's do the sold one. So they tell me it was sold at carry value. So there's my, which vehicle is it? Vehicle 3. There's my carry value. What am I going to work on? Can you see they do not give me the dates? So we are going to leave this one. Not because we can't do it, but can you see this is going to be a time stealer because now I need to see where do I find stuff and. So I leave this one for now. Let's go on. Let's see what else they give me. They give me a vehicle 2 and a vehicle 1. So both of them I had the whole year. Now, because they give me 3 vehicles separately, and because it's on cost, I'm aware of the 1 rand. So now can you see if I look at vehicle 1, the carry value is extremely small. Okay? So immediately, if I look, I see it's 20%. Now can you see 10%? If I just take out 1 0, 10% is already 24,000. Yeah. So 20% is going to be double that. So can you see already the depreciation is more than the carry value? You do not need to go and calculate it. You just say 15,000 less 1. 15,000 less 1. 14,999. That's it. The other old one, I see, oh no, this one is very big. There's no way. Next, so let's go calculate this one. It's 352,000 times 20%, and that gives me, okay, so what is this 20%? 7? Like this.
70.
Okay, so if I add it, it gives me 85,399. Is that right? So can you see I'm still just shorting the sold one. So what am I going to do? I am going to say, okay, so far you write that because you're going to get marks for that already. And if you add them, you get a bagel already. So already you got 5. So let's wait with that. Now let's see if there's another way we can calculate this. No, because they didn't give me this. Okay, so there is somewhere something that we are missing. So let's just relax. Okay, so number 2, let's look at number 2. Number 2 I can do because I can either say 413 and the difference, add 458, or I can just go to the information and add the cost of those three. And that gives me what? It can't be just 872 Dalmatians. Okay, right. So it's only one part that I'm shorting. Can you see nobody's dying so far? So let's go to equipment, because I want to work fast. So I am just going to go and for myself make a note that I still need to do the salt one. Okay, so now let's go to equipment. So if I go to equipment, they want to get the addition, which is easy. Why do I say that? Because with the disposal, it's 0. So we didn't sell anything. Meaning, I can just take the difference between the opening and the closing. And that's my addition. And how much is that? 116. So I go and I add it here immediately. 116. Okay. And what's my bracket? Remember your bracket, because it's money going out. And how much is this? 1. You guys didn't do this for homework. With the buying. That scares me, because you're not supposed to. Can you see why I say leave it?
Yeah.
Yes?
11, 86,
86.
800.
Can you guys see what I mean with don't get sucked into stuff you can't do? Because look at what I've done. Every single one of you sitting here are able to do this. It's straightforward. And you could have gotten your marks. That thing that sucks you in will be 2, maybe at most 3 marks. But now you've been wasting all your time. And you didn't get to this. Go for the sure things. Okay? You hear me? So, let's finish everything. And then we go back and we think about how do we think we're going to do this. We're not going to do it now because it's going to take time and we want to finish on time. Let's see if someone else wants a book. Let's go on. Next one. Next one. So, is there any other question? Where are we? I'm now Demakar. Where's my pages? I thought it was going too well. Not getting Demakar. So we've done this one. But you're going to make a little thing for yourself here. So you remember there's still something you need to fix. Okay. Now, complete the cash flow statement for the year. Blah, blah, blah. Some of the details and figures have been entered. Yes, we saw that. Here we go. So here is my cash flow. So, what information? Let's start from the top. So what do I know? I know that this is quite a sum. Ne? So I'm going to leave it. Because there might be a way for me to balance on it. Okay, because if I quickly make a scan here, okay, so let's just see. Let's go on. I see interest on loan, so I'm going to transfer that. Interest paid is 86,760. All right. Dividends paid. What am I looking for? The opening balance of shareholders. So I go look. Where's shareholders? I see. Okay. Here's shareholders. The opening balance is the old year. 60,000. What am I looking for? The interim dividend. Right? So now let's see. Did they give me any information on interim dividends? And that here I see they give me the total dividends. Now what do I know? Total dividends less final of this year, 30,000, will give me the interim, which was 140. So I add 140 and it gives me 200,000. Remember your bracket, and that's an easy 3 marks. Okay. Now I go on. Next one. Next one, I want to see, is there a fixed deposit? So I go to my balance sheet. Is there fixed? Yes? Okay, so let's go look. Do I see any fixed deposit or financial asset? Remember, they can say either fixed deposit, they can say investment, or they can say financial asset. Okay, just make a note for yourself. Fixed deposit can also be an investment or a financial asset. Please, they like using synonyms. It's like English paper 1. They like synonyms. Okay, and I see none of that. Am I right? I don't see anything. So I assume it's 0, so I block and top because I want to get that bagel. You block and top, babies, to get your bagels. What's the block and top? It's still a negative of 1. Finish. 1. You guys, can I just 108 4,000. Okay. So this is not the time to not do accounting homework. Your most important homework every day, and I'm recording this so that you can hear this again. Your most important homework at this stage is your numbers. Because reading stuff you can read up over the weekend, but numbers is understanding. You cannot skimp on number homework. Okay, let's go on. So now let's do the shares. So before I do anything, I'm immediately going to say that's a bracket and that's a bracket. Okay, that I don't forget my brackets. Because let me tell you, in a cash flow statement, they don't mark without brackets. If your bracket is wrong, your answer is wrong. Okay, so now let's go look. Now obviously, it's going to be with my information on shares, right? So they say, additional shares were issued. How much? We don't know. So can you see immediately here, I'm going to have to do a calculation. Now for me personally, what I'm thinking is, I will somehow take this and make it a note. So I'm going to say, this is my opening, my additional, my buyback, and my closing. They tell you there, the number of shares in issue at the end is 750. Right. So now let's do this note, because then I somehow can get everything. Okay. So now I see, what was my opening? They give me my opening, if I go look in number B, the opening is 2040. They give me the closing is 2287 500. Remember I said to you, you're going to get the ordinary share capital note. Do you think they asked it formally in question 1 if they asked it like this? No. But can you see, you cannot get your answers if you can't do the note. Okay, so now, this one is going to be a balancing amount. This one, I need. Okay, but now quickly look at this. They say, Jurgen Benardi, a shareholder, convinced directors to repurchase 80,000 shares. Okay, after he noticed the poor liquidity and profitability, blah, 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 he was paid R4.20 a share. Can you see that's immediately the buyback of shares? So we bought back 80,000 at R4.20 because you want to know the full cash thing going on here. And what does that give you? 336. Okay, now let's go on with this. So now how will I get the average price? They give it to me. If they didn't give it to me, how will I get it? I will take that Can you see there's nothing between the sold of the repurchase and the end? So I can take that 228 divided by the 750. But I don't have to do it because they give me the 305. So 80,000 times 305 gives me?
244.
Okay. And now I am going to reverse. So I say 2287 plus 244 minus 2040, and that gives me how much? So, can you see I did this on my question paper? So the marker does not see it. But can you see, to get that, I have to have that, that, and that. So it's 4 marks minimum. I cannot waste that 4 marks by hoping my answer is right. So I'm going to write that in. I'm going to say 2287 plus 244 minus 2040, and that gives me what?
491,500.
Okay,
Just 1 point.
only one. So there's 4 marks there. Okay, now let's go look at the loan. Is everybody sharp? Yes. Okay, at buyback we use the 420 because we want to use the total price the company paid, because it's about the cash going out. So you always have to know it's the average and the above average. So if they give you a note for ordinary share capital and for retained income, you have to add both of them. Sharp. Okay, let's go look at loan. Do they give me loan? Yes. With loan, you must also look out. Sometimes they will say non-current liability instead of loan. Okay? So there's another synonym to look out for. So now let's look. Can you see it's an increase? Yes. Ne? They didn't give me information about how I pay back the loan. Remember, if they give me information about paying back the loan, then you have to go do a little T to see if you didn't maybe also attained a loan. Okay, but they didn't give me any information, so now I just take the difference, and the difference is going to what? 22,000. Is that? Okay. And there's no decrease. Okay, so now I block on top, and I'm scared to ask. 377,500. Okay, so now, can you see so far? Do you see anything in this information that tells you anything about inventory, debtors, or creditors? Nothing. Can you see you cannot do note 1? Did they give you any information where they say this is the cash generated from operations, or anything that tells you oh, this is the profit after the following adjustments, or the nothing, right? So what can you do? Can you see you can do the cash? And you know, what did I tell you yesterday? I told you that this gives you this. So it means if I can get that guy, I can reverse. Yeah. Okay, so now let's reverse. So if I say, what is my cash? So if I look at cash, I will always look at the cash in the bank and the bank overdraft. So I'm going to look at both of those. So now I see my bank overdraft at the beginning is 96,200. So I'm going to bracket it. 96,200. Oh my goodness. Yeah. And now it's recorded. Yeah. plus 5,200 cash gives me a negative 91,000. I can most now see that in 2020 there is no cash. So it's just a negative 905. Can you see this business has got cash flow problems?
Yeah.
Yes, they can pay their stuff, but with debt. Okay, so now, minus 905 plus 91 gives me minus
814,001.
Okay. And now, because I've got the 814, I can now go and I can reverse. So I say minus 814, remember the one you start with, you keep the sign. So minus 814 minus 377 plus 108 gives me
103, 107, 500.
okay. Now, again, I'm going to reverse. So 107,500 plus 86 plus 200 plus 65 gives me
804,360.
okay, and there's my cash flow. And is it as difficult as you thought?
No.
No. What was the where was the difficult thing? In the fixed assets. You see? Don't build up blocks for yourself. We say, oh, this is cash flow isn't difficult. It's a lot of calculations, so you have to do every exercise to get used to the way that they are asking it and giving information. But cash flow in itself is not difficult. Practice. So now let's go back. Now I have time. Now I go back to the depreciation. Now remember, if I did a whole paper, will I go back to depreciation now? No, most definitely not. I will finish the whole paper and then I go back to this depreciation. Okay, now let's go have a look. What can we do with this? What can we do with this? They give me the disposal at carry value. Now if I look here, can you see they give me last year's carry value? Can you see that? I want you to listen. Can you see they gave you the start of the year carry value?
When I was here.
Huh?
I saw how to do when I was here.
I love you too. So, can you see they gave me last year's carry value? They give me this year's carry value. Ne? When I look here, there. This year's carry value is 102,800. And remember, the carry value goes down because the accumulated goes up. And what does the accumulated go up with? The depreciation. So the difference here will give me the depreciation. And that is 14,000. So I go back and I say, okay, plus 14,000. And that's going to be 2 ticks. Added, no, that's the salt one, sorry. 14,2. And most probably that would be 2 ticks. Add all of that, and it gives me depreciation. How much you can see? You have? Do you have the memo? No. 9.
993999. No, like 399. Yeah.
You see? What don't you see? This one.